Let us address the Second Amendment issue. Everybody says, well, Cenk, no, I know we have one massacre after another, one shooting after another with guns and assault rifles and semi-automatics, but there's nothing we can do. Hey, have you read the Second Amendment? Well, great, I'm glad you asked that because I have read it and I'm pretty convinced you haven't. So let me show it to you. Quote, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Do you understand that the first part of the sentence is what you call a qualifier? Not, they could have just written the sentence, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, period, right? But they didn't write it that way. They put a qualifier in the beginning. They said, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, hence you get the arms. If you're using it as part of a well-regulated militia. Now, why is that? In their experience, they needed a well-regulated militia because oftentimes the troops weren't enough. They'd literally be fighting Indian nations and the army couldn't do the job by itself and they need the militia of that state. And they argued over and over again in the Federalist Papers, hey, listen, we need to train these militia better. They need to be a well-regulated militia so that when we go into conflict, they can help the army win the wars. Now, which part of these jackasses carrying semi-automatic weapons throughout the country are part of a well-regulated militia? And what are we doing? We're fighting the Cherokee? Is that what's happening here? And back then they had muskets. Thomas Jefferson didn't know you were going to use an Uzi on your neighbors. You're not fighting tyranny. What are all these people doing in all these shootings? They're shooting innocent civilians. You say, oh, not me. But I don't care if it's you or him. You give the guy... You give enough people in this country unlimited access to this kind of high weaponry, and what are they going to do? Yes, some mentally deranged people are going to abuse that. That's why you need regulation. It doesn't mean we take your guns away, but what it does mean is that we can be sane about this, that not everybody has the right to, it says right to bear arms. What, so that you could put an rocket-propelled grenade, an RPG on your shoulder, walk around, open carry, right to bear arms. What part of your ass is part of a well-regulated militia? This is nonsense. All right, look, to give you a better sense of it, this is what they said back in 1777 in the Journals of the Continental Congress. Resolved that this appointment be conferred on experienced and vigilant general officers who are acquainted with whatever relates to the general economy, maneuvers, and discipline of a well-regulated army. I give you that quote to give you a sense of what they meant by well-regulated. It meant a disciplined force that you could call upon when you need it, whether it's to fight the Indians, to fight a different government, etc. It was not Bob in Tennessee and Dave in Wisconsin or whatever, cleaning their Uzis in their basement. Here's another one in context. This is from George Washington back in 1889 to give you a sense of what that word means. If your present numbers should be insufficient for that purpose, I would then by all means advise your making up the deficiency out of the best regulated militia that can be got, referring to help in fighting off the Indians. Go get your best regulated militia, not Bob. This doesn't have anything to do with you protecting yourself against an intruder. This doesn't have anything to do with your unlimited right to carry nuclear arms or whatever you want to do. They had a specific purpose for this amendment. What happened? I thought you guys were all about strict constructionists. Whatever's in the plain language. Let me give you the plain language once again, because you're apparently completely and utterly ignoring it. Quote, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. You ignore the first part because it is convenient for you, because you want to have your guns, the gun manufacturers want to sell more guns, the NRA wants to make more money and buy more politicians. You are not part of a well-regulated militia. This is nonsense. You do not have an unlimited right to keep and bear arms.